It's safe to say the silver shortage is becoming more and more publicized on a daily basis. Articles, interviews, and warnings from silver miners themselves. Here's the thing, everyone wants a slice of the silver pie, but there's simply just not enough pie to go around. And everyone is finally realizing it.
Connection established.
This week's specials at Miles Franklin are 100-ounce bars, only $139 over spot. Also, the beautiful Maple Leafs, only $375 over spot. That's a 50 coin minimum. Just email me, slayer@milesfranklin.com, and I'll hook you up. Silver has been in the spotlight for the last couple of months, and specifically the shortage. Ever since the Silver Institute posted their numbers, or their misleading numbers that got exposed by the Silver Academy, everyone's been talking about this because it's no longer something you could just sweep under the rug. We are in a very serious situation, and there's nothing we can do about it. Check out some of these articles that were posted in just the last couple of days. Silver demand expected to hit second highest level on record in 2024. Then we have Keith Neumeyer from First Majestic Silver saying, we really need another big silver mine in our portfolio. And he's mentioning that because of the shortage. Mines produce 830 million ounces, but consumption is 1.2 billion ounces. But not only that, now we have Canada writing an open letter asking why silver isn't on the critical minerals list. They posted about 40 different minerals, and silver, which should be the number one most critical, isn't even on the list. It's like they left it off on purpose, and that goes hand in hand with what the United States has also done. But there's more. Demand worries continue to put pressure on silver prices, and then another article came out yesterday talking about how EVs are going to be picking up the pace this year and continuing on, plus solar panels. Those are the two biggest sectors that push silver's demand higher, but mining output, production has been slowing down. This is a lot of news, and I just handpicked a few. Also remember, I post daily videos, and I didn't even show those articles that also have been coming out over the last week, giving even more evidence about this growing problem. I want to cover this article first because it came out yesterday, and it's talking about silver demand expected to hit second highest level on record in 2024. So let's break down this article from fxstreet.com that was written yesterday. Industrial demand is expected to lead the growth in global demand this year with a 4% increase to a record 690 million ounces. And that's with demand rising 1%, hitting 1.2 billion ounces in 2024. And that is the second highest level on record, according to projections by the Silver Institute. And we could also argue that these numbers are much higher since they haven't even been incorporating some of the biggest sectors. Well, beyond EVs and solar panels, we're talking about military and aerospace, and there is a lot of silver used in those, especially since we're involved in 5 different wars, and there's up to 500 ounces of silver in a single Tomahawk missile, plus the satellites, drones, surveillance, all of that as well. So industrial demand is expected to lead the growth in global demand with a 4% increase to a record 690 million ounces. That would build on the all-time high industrial demand in 2023. So this is what I'm talking about. Every year, we're just going to keep breaking new records. Imagine what the numbers will be by the year 2030, where we can barely reach 850 million ounces on a good year in production. Yes, incorporating recycling, that helps, but at the end of the day, there's no way we're going to be able to catch up, especially since we're already now 2 years in the red. Well, 7, but talking about record-breaking supply deficits. This is the second year now. So this is continued growth in the solar energy sector and the automotive industry, and this will continue to be key drivers of growth. Where's that silver going to come from? The push for green energy is expected to provide long-term support for the silver market. According to the Silver Institute, global photovoltaic installations significantly exceeded market expectations in 2023, which I called that, and I'm sure a lot of you did as well. And new capacity additions are forecast to reach another record this year. There's new technologies being invented, and this is also requiring silver. AI chips now, and there's another addition to EVs that they are going to be incorporating, which also requires silver. Remember, silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. So as we advance in this new digital technological era, we're going to be needing more and more and more silver. So this silver offtake will also benefit from a technological breakthrough bringing new, higher efficiency N-type solar cells into mass production. These solar cells use even more silver than the older technology. And that's what I was talking about. Some people a couple of years ago saying that we'll be able to replace silver. We're talking about elements on the periodic table. The meteors and comets is what brought silver to Earth. It's not made on the Earth. Same with gold. So it's not like we're going to be able to find some other metal. Copper's a close second in terms of electrical conductivity, but the quality is so poor, it's actually more efficient to just use silver itself. According to a 2022 research paper by scientists at the University of New South Wales, solar manufacturers could consume over 20% of the current annual silver supply by 2027, and by 2050, solar panel production will use approximately 85 to 98% of the global silver reserves. Cut that number in half because EVs are also growing. Some analysts speculate that silver demand for photo production will eventually flatten as the industry develops cheaper alternatives to the white metal. But according to this paper, if the industry finds ways to reduce the use of silver in individual panels, overall demand will still increase. And this is what I'm talking about. People used photography as an example of how the demand will be able to be somewhat manageable, but that won't even put a dent. Recycling won't either. The results show that the current rate of reduction in silver consumption is not sufficient to avoid increasing silver demand from the PV industry, which stands for photovoltaics, and the transition to high-efficiency technologies, including TAPCON, a more advanced N-type silicon cell technology first scaled in 2019, and SHJ silicon heterojunction solar cells, which are very efficient, which could greatly increase silver demand, posing price and supply risks. The green energy sector should also remain relatively recession-proof due to government commitments to funding it. That's another big point, is we're in agreements. We have commitments. We've already put these measures in place. So even if we had an economic downturn, we have certain procedures and numbers in place regardless. And meanwhile, a projected recovery in the consumer electronics market should further boost industrial silver demand. The silver jewelry market is also projected to set a record in 2024, rising 6%. A resurgence in Indian jewelry demand is expected to drive the increase. The Silver Institute expects investment demand to decline in 2024, sagging to a 6-year low. According to its analysis, demand in the U.S. will likely lead the way as stocks surge in economic growth thanks to anticipated Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. There is a blind spot in the Silver Institute's analysis. It does not seem to anticipate anything breaking in the U.S. economy due to higher interest rates. A financial crisis would crater that expected economic growth and tank the stock market. There are already signs of stress in the banking system, and the commercial real estate market is ripe for a crisis. If something breaks in the economy, the scenario would likely send investment demand soaring, but could put a damper on industrial offtake. I personally don't agree with this. I think that we are too deep in the hole to be able to dig ourselves out, especially with the growing demand. If demand stayed flat, we might be able to catch up with mine production and recycling over the next couple of years, but demand is also growing. So we would have to be breaking records with production and not demand, but that is not going to be happening anytime soon. So this will somewhat offset by a declining in silver recycling. See, they're saying that recycling might be able to help a bit, but at the end of the day, looking at the numbers, recycling won't even put a dent in this situation. Even with the recovery of mine output, Silver Institute projects another market deficit in 2024 with demand outstripping supply. Just like I was saying, recycling isn't going to do much. This would mark the fourth straight year of a structural market deficit and further cut into silver reserves. And that's why you see the military defense department or the industrial complex also raiding our U.S. silver reserves, because so much silver is used in military, and I'm sure they're aware of these numbers, this dwindling silver supply. And if we're in 5 wars, we're going to need silver. So where is it going to come from if we don't have enough of it? You guys know war is the #1 priority, even over solar panels and EVs, and rightfully so. Silver is not priced for these market dynamics, and that's a good point. Along with the article I posted yesterday, I was talking about a silver anomaly, but it was also saying this price suppression will not be able to survive the fundamentals, especially moving forwards, as this is starting to really affect military and the Green New Deal. And not only that, these other countries that are also buying up all the silver and gold. So as we reported last month, silver is not priced for these market dynamics. At between $22 and $23 an ounce, silver's on sale, and it's extremely on sale. The gold to silver ratio has spread to almost 90-1. That means it takes almost 90 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold. This is historically a wide spread. And right now, if you're debating on buying silver or gold, silver is the much better option. Gold is at record highs right now. Silver is not even half of its all-time high. If you're looking to invest into something, you want to invest into something that's undervalued, not overvalued. Not even saying gold's overvalued, but it is the most expensive it's ever been throughout the 5,000 years that we have been using this metal as a means of value. You don't ever want to buy something at the highest price it's ever been for thousands of years. You want to get in early, before the curve, and silver not even half of its all-time high, which also lags gold, which is at all-time highs, meaning that the gold to silver ratio will start to naturally equal itself out, which it always does. It always drops back down when it's up in the 100-1 range, 90-1 range, even 80-1 range. It always comes back down. So right now, silver is the better buy. When the gold to silver ratio is going up, that means gold is outperforming silver, meaning that gold might be the better option. But when the gold to silver ratio is going down, that means silver is outperforming gold. So when it's like it was 125-1 in March of 2020, silver was $11 during this period. And yes, you heard me correctly. In 2020, silver was $11, but then it also shot up to $30, being the #1 performing asset in 2020. Regardless, though, that's when the gold to silver ratio was 125-1. Of course, it was going to go back down, meaning silver was going to outperform gold. And yes, because silver's $11, of course it's going to outperform gold and everything else. It literally outperformed everything else, even Tesla stocks, Amazon. Silver was #1. I think gold was like #5. But regardless, when the ratio is this high, it's obvious that silver is the better option. So, for instance, the ratio fell 30-1 in 2011 and below 20-1 in 1979. The pandemic era provides a more recent example. As the Fed cut rates and launched quantitative easing, QE, to prop up a shaky economy caused by rate hikes the prior year, gold to silver ratio climbed to nearly 93-1, and as silver rallied along with gold, the gold to silver ratio plunged from 100-1 to just 64-1, close to the high end of the historical norm, right? The norm is around 70-1, I would say. So when you see it at 90-1, that means that gold is overvalued compared to silver. Not overvalued in dollar terms, comparing it to silver. It's pretty clear that silver isn't priced for the current demand dynamics. So yeah, there you have it. Another great article. They brought some good points to the table. And when you look at the numbers, like my last video, I said numbers don't lie. Do they? Question mark. Because of the controversy going on with the Silver Institute not giving accurate numbers, but not accurate in the sense of even saying 1.2 billion ounces is expected this year. It's actually much higher. Like last year, they had to revise the numbers because they didn't incorporate tens and tens of millions of ounces. And why? Who knows? Was it purpose or was it a mistake? Was it on purpose or something that maybe was just, who knows? But all I know is Silver Academy has been calling them out, and it's been a very eye-opening experience to see something as big as the Silver Institute, which I used to call them the holy grail of information, because that's who you went to when they posted their numbers annually. Everyone else, every source goes off their numbers. So to say that they're even corrupt is something that's very shocking to me. And I feel like not enough people understand how important that is, that if these numbers aren't accurate, then nothing has been. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Remember, we have 100-ounce bars for, I think it's $1 something over spot. And then the Maples $3.75 over spot, minimum of 50 for those. And there's no minimum for anything. You could buy 2 ounces if you wanted, or you could buy 2 million ounces if you wanted. Doesn't matter. It's all able to be fulfilled. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up here. Make sure you guys subscribe. I'm trying to plan out my next giveaway, so stay tuned for that as well. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.